welcome to Desert Island Films. Hope you're all well. Today I have a guest who's been in musical theatre since this tuber was 6 years old, fairly new on the YouTube scene, very into the Resident Evil side and sort of survival horror games. Got quite a few videos up. We need more from you. It is, of course, Shimegee, Jamie.
Yes.
Yay!
Yay!
Jamie, how are you?
I'm doing wonderful. I'm doing wonderful. I hope you're doing the same.
Yes, I'm doing very well. How's your day been?
My day's been wonderful. I woke up and now I'm on here.
Excellent. There's no better way to start the day than to come on a two-bit YouTube show hosted by a total amateur, and yet no better way to start the day. Cool. So, Jamie, you tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, as you said, I really love survival horror. I really like indie horror games. I'm hoping to talk more about things that aren't just Resident Evil on my channel soon. The thing is just when I started my channel, Resident Evil sort of had a big boom because of the Revelations 2 thing, and so I've been trying to keep up with that.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping to have some more things that aren't just necessarily Resident Evil related up on my channel here within the next week or so.
Yeah.
Actually, hopefully going to talk about The Evil Within, because we just got a new trailer from the Tokyo Game Show.
Okay, brilliant.
This week. So I'm going to watch that and try to kind of look at that and see what I can see. Maybe do a trailer analysis for that as well, because the Revelations one went over really well.
Yeah.
I love cosplaying. I like doing special effects makeup, and got a convention coming up next weekend, so I'm really excited about that.
Excellent. Okay, brilliant. Have you? Cause you were on the Retro on Limb live stream the other week, weren't you?
Yes, I was.
Have you actually joined the Motley Crew, which is Retro on Limb?
I have joined retroemon.com. I've been a bit nervous to post, so I kind of haven't. I've been really nervous because I'm like, what if I post the wrong thing? What if I post this and people don't like it? What am I gonna do?
Jamie, do you know what Retro on Limb is? It's people like us posting the wrong thing. So it's like I really would start uploading. Do you know how to upload and everything? You know sort of how to.
Yes. I've already had at least like 3 really simple problems, and I had to email the guy and be like, hey, what am I doing wrong? And they're like, oh, you just need to do this. And I'm like, oh.
Likewise, and I still get problems now. So no, I shouldn't worry too much about that. So welcome to Retro on Limb. On behalf of obviously Steve and the crew.
Thank you.
It's nice to have you on board.
Well, it's nice to be on board. I've had such a great time, and honestly, I didn't expect to get much attention, except for just like being on I Got Gameplay. So when I was asked to do these other shows, and then finally asked to join the roster, I was blown away, and I still am.
Yeah, we do, which is another show you do with Michael, isn't it? I Got Gameplay. Yeah. Okay, tell us a little bit about I Got Gameplay.
Oh, I love doing I Got Gameplay. It's just a bunch of just cool kids like us. Well, I guess we're not kids, but we're kids at heart.
Absolutely.
Cool kids like us talking about video games and what's new in the video game world. And each weekend we try to have a topic, and we usually get off topic, but you know that's the best kind, is when we just get to rambling and it's just feeding off of each other's minds and kind of figuring out what we each like about certain video games and discussing the differences and seeing where, you know, other people may have differences, but we also kind of come together in the sense that we all love the video games, and some of us might like the story, some of us might like the graphics, but all in all, we're all here for pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, that's very similar to a show that I do with Interghost, Shocks, and Dan Central. The Sunday Stroll, where basically we have one topic, we all film a little bit, go for a little walk in the park on Sunday morning or whenever you do it, and I'll let you into a secret. We don't always do it on Sunday morning. So like on Tuesday afternoon when we're walking through the park and we're saying, hey, how are you? This is a Sunday Stroll. We do get a few funny looks. So, but it's generally sort of like just talking about. It's always game related. Just talking about one topic. Small 5-minute video, and sort of we'll clip it together, and it's pretty cool. So yes, yes. So that's I got gameplay. Right. So on to Desert Island Films. Jamie, you know the actual structure of it. You've got 8 films to bring with you, rather, on the islands, and you've got 2 films that you really should have seen by now. You know that. Everybody else knows that, and you really should get around to watching them. We'll see.
Yeah.
So if that's all right, we will get started. If you can give us film number 1.
All right. These aren't in any sort of order. I think if I
No,
actually had to put them in order, I would just cry.
no, it's
Um,
fine.
my first film on my list is Sherlock Holmes, the Guy Ritchie film with
With
Robert Downey
Robert
Jr.
Downey Jr., yeah, okay. Is it Sherlock Holmes? Is that your kind of thing, or would you just actually like the film?
Oh, I love it. I've read. I started reading the books. I've read about a fourth of those stories. I've watched the old Basil Rathbone series. I've watched a little bit of the other old series. I've watched the BBC Sherlock up until season 3 because I think season 3 is just completely horrible.
Yeah,
And I've seen the 2 newer movies. I've seen Young Sherlock Holmes movie. I love it. I love Sherlock Holmes. He's a great character. I love his mystery stories, and he's just all around a great character with great stories and a wonderful, wonderful consulting detective.
yeah. Have you seen the new ones with what's his name? Khan in Star Wars. What was it?
Benedict Cumberbatch.
That's the one.
Yeah.
I'm so bad at this, Jamie. It's unbelievable. I reckon I'll get no views whatsoever after like the film. So,
Yeah, we
yes,
actually have season 2 of Sherlock over on our little DVD shelf. We love that series.
yeah. So you're fully aware how he sort of killed himself?
Yes.
No, no,
No.
I don't think anybody is. That just doesn't make sense to me. So, but yeah, so Sherlock Holmes, obviously, Robert Downey Jr. and help me out,
Jude Law.
and Jude Law, absolutely, and Jude Law. Who could forget Jude Law? Me, quite clearly. So favorite actors of sort, or you just like them as actors and
Um, Jude Law, I haven't seen much of, admittedly, but Robert Downey Jr. and Rachel McAdams, the girl who plays
oh,
Irene
yeah,
Adler, they are some of my favorite actors. I love watching them work. I love just kind of watching them bring a character to life.
yeah.
And they're both really nice from what I hear. Like, I know Robert Downey Jr. is a giant dork. He thinks he is Iron Man, but
How
I
cool
mean,
is
he
that?
is.
Well, no, he is.
He is.
If he stood up in front of you and said, "I am Iron Man," you would say you are. You quite
Right.
clearly are. Excellent. In regards to the Sherlock Holmes films, oh, hello.
Yes.
In regards to the Sherlock Holmes films, have you got a favourite part in the film?
Oh, I love it when Irene Adler first shows up in his flat, and he's just laying there on like the tiger rug, and
Yeah,
she's setting up tea for both of them,
yeah,
and he wakes up and hears her and just freaks out.
yeah, yeah. And he's very unique, isn't he? Like Robert Downey Jr. has got that. Um, Oh, what? Oh, again, I'm sort of like ballsing my words up, but he's got that sort of character development where even if
Right.
he's asleep and even if he's like conscious, you know what he's thinking, or sort of
Right. He's very expressive.
very expressive, very expressive.
He's very expressive, very quirky, and he pulls off a beautiful Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, yeah. Doesn't he just? Doesn't he just? Did you like the second one?
I did like the second movie. I didn't like it as much as the first. I felt like there was a little bit more to be desired from the second film,
Yeah,
but I did like it. We own it. I love watching it. I think one of my favorite things about the second film was actually watching the behind the scenes and watching how they decided to do the ending scenes with Moriarty and how they actually choreographed the chess match between them to fit the entire movie storyline so far.
yeah,
Of course, incorporating the Queen's sacrifice because of Irene Adler. And the actual chess match that they used was an actual chess match that was played in a championship world match that won.
Oh wow.
And yes, and so it's very interesting watching that.
Yeah, you know what? If you do your research on films, I think nearly every film that probably me and you have seen, there's always a really interesting fact that when you find that out, it's a case of like, I want to watch that film again. I want to sort of like see how that pans out and
Right.
oh, hold on, my computer's gone dead. No, still there. um, so yeah, it's incredibly interesting things. I love sort of interesting fact, which again, going forward on Desert Island Films, I think I need to get a list of the films first and then do my research and sort of come back with interesting little facts rather than just turning around and saying, oh yes, I've seen that.
Well, I think that, if there's a movie that you don't know about and the other person does, maybe it's good for you not to do a lot of research. Maybe this is a learning experience. Like, you can learn about it from the person, and it creates sort of a good kind of banter between you and the person. Like, you
Yeah, no,
can
yeah, no,
ask a lot of
definitely.
questions.
I was speaking to a tuber the other day, and Shawshank Redemption was one of their picks, and
Hmm.
it's a film I've never seen, and
Right.
it's one of the top grossing films, and sort of like nearly everybody's top sort of three films as such, and I haven't seen it, and it's like no, that's it. So this weekend, I've already downloaded it legally, of course, cough cough,
Totally.
and I'll be watching it the weekend. So talking to that tuber in question has sort of opened my eyes to pull my finger out and watch a film. So
Right. Yeah. I haven't seen Shawshank Redemption either, so it's okay.
I'll join the club, but you must, like me, you must. So
I know. That's
you,
the only
go,
bad
go
thing
back
is
to
like that's the only bad thing about me is like I don't like watching movies alone
yeah,
because we're third shift and my boyfriend usually works at night. So at night I usually watch YouTube gameplays and make little clay charms, and so I don't like watching movies alone. And
yeah.
so then when my boyfriend's actually home over the weekend,
You
we
talk,
actually
you
do
do
our
it.
errands. Right, like we rest, play video games, do our errands, and kind of work on cosplay stuff. And then it's Sunday, and he has to go to work again.
Yeah, yeah. That's how it works, isn't it?
Right.
Life gets in the way of fun, unfortunately.
Oh yeah.
So Jamie, your number one film was
Sherlock Holmes.
Sherlock Holmes. Excellent. So moving swiftly on. No, your number two pick.
Um, Resident Evil Afterlife, and I can explain.
Yeah, please do, please do.
Okay, that I actually put that beside the movie title on my little list as I can explain. Um, okay, so yes, the Resident Evil movies were completely terrible compared to the games. They are entertaining, but they did completely ruin the storyline.
Yeah,
The reason that Resident Evil Afterlife makes my favorite films is because of the way that they wrote Wesker beautifully.
okay.
Like, that's the only character that they really got down pat, except for the fact that he was infected with the T virus in the movies and he had to eat people to stay alive. Now, that was completely just stupid.
Yeah.
But I loved it because we got to see the famous fight scene between Chris Sheva and Wesker from Resident Evil 5 come to life in Resident Evil Afterlife with Chris Redfield, Claire Redfield, and Wesker kind of toward the end of the movie. And to me, that just makes the entire movie just really awesome to see that fight scene come to life and to see Sean Roberts put a lot of life into Wesker himself.
Yeah, yeah. Isn't it funny? When you mentioned Resident Evil, I was like, ugh. A Resident Evil film, really? And it's for you, it's that kind of character building where it's very poignant and everything. For me, is it Retribution, the latest one?
Oh God, yes.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I don't enjoy the film whatsoever. The first 5 minutes of that film is fucking amazing. It is so good
Right.
where she's having that fight on the boat and it's all played backwards.
Yeah, that was so funny. The thing of it
Yeah,
is when we watched it, I was like, okay, now I'm just, like, I actually just looked over at my boyfriend Colin, and I'm like, where the hell is Claire and Chris? Because they were on this boat.
yeah,
Why aren't they in the movie?
yeah. No, it's funny how little things sort of make the film for you. So in regards to Afterlife, I mean, have you got a favourite part apart from the fight? Is that
I would have to say that the fight is one of my favorite parts, but I also like pretty much the entire thing with Claire Redfield because this is one of the movies where she gets to shine. You know, she's not given a lot of time from Capcom except for Resident Evil Revelations 2 coming up.
yeah?
But I love Ali Larter's Claire Redfield, and so I really like watching her and Alice, even though Alice is kind of a horrible character. I like watching her and Alice fight the executioner in the bathroom scene with like the water and everything.
Okay, yeah.
That was such a cool fight scene, and the fact that the actors and the stunt people did that with water, like on the floor, it makes it so much more difficult to actually maneuver.
Yeah.
And so a lot of respect for that.
Yeah, I've heard again, I think choreographing fights, can sort of make or break films as well, can't they, really? So, and
Right.
certainly if, a film like Resident Evil, you need sort of that good fight scenes to sort of kind of keep you gripped as such, because obviously, the storyline is going to be a little bit open for debate. Obviously, you get your hardcore Resident Evil fans and your people that just want to go and watch the film, and they try and get the balance between the two. So
I agree.
yeah,
So
excellent. So that was pick number two, which was
Resident Evil Afterlife.
lovely. So then moving on to pick number three.
The Little Mermaid.
Right, yeah, just for people that obviously aren't aware, we were talking earlier in regards to I was hoping there was no chick flicks involved, and you mentioned there's a Disney film, and Disney films for me are more than welcome on the island. So yes, they are. So The Little Mermaid. Why The Little Mermaid out of all the Disney films?
The Little Mermaid has been really close to me ever since I was little because she loves music. And my dad was really, really into music. He played guitar and traveled all over the U.S. playing guitar, and he even played with people like Jerry Reed and things like that. And so I grew up with a lot of music in my life, and music has been such a release for me and such a beautiful thing seeing, the Little Mermaid, seeing Ariel connect with her music and just use it as such an expression for her.
Yeah,
I took a lot away from it. I really loved The Little Mermaid, and it made it even better for me when Ariel's Beginning came out not too long after my dad passed away in 2006, because that was the film where you saw why her and her dad were so close. You saw the struggles between her and her dad, and there were also the moments where you saw her and her dad grieving over her mom. And the end of that movie still just brings me to my knees in tears at this till this day, because it's just I can relate to it so much, and it's so beautiful for me.
yeah, completely. Again, I think things like that can be very touching, and it feels very personal as well. Um,
Right.
I told a story on the stream about TV, well, Quantum Leap, a TV show where near the end, basically said, have you ever seen Quantum Leap?
I've heard of it, but I haven't actually seen it.
It's basically a time traveling, not as glossy as Doctor Who, but quite gritty, where he goes back and he has to change a part of somebody's life or sort of improve them or make sure they don't go down road A, but they sort of get swayed, to go to road B before
Hmm.
he can then time travel into somebody else's body as such. But there's one bit where he gets to speak to his dad, and obviously his dad doesn't know it's him when he's grown up, but it's very emotional, and he kind of apologizes for something that is gonna happen a couple
Right.
of years, obviously from his dad's sort of timeline, and he kind of apologizes for it because obviously after his dad died, he never got to tell him that.
Right.
Yeah, the thing, and obviously I can kind of relate that when my dad passed away, and it's nice. So yes, right, off topic slightly. So the Little Mermaid. Now, again, my upbringing, being a man, it's like you don't watch Little Mermaid, you don't watch Disney films. And I remember my friend Stuart coming up to me. He's gonna kill me because every episode I've got a story about him. But um, he came up to me one day and said, "Oh, I've been watching Little Mermaid," and being a man, it's like, what are you doing watching that shite for? And he was like, "Yeah, it was really good. The music was really good." But you know when you see a cartoon character and they're so attractive and you just like you kind of fall in love with them. And I was
Right.
like, okay, you're in love with a cartoon character. That's a bit odd. However, sort of as the years go by, I can see that obviously the big red. Has she got red eyes? No, she has blue.
She's got big blue eyes, the red hair.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, you can see the kind of you know when you do cosplay, and
Yeah.
obviously people like get dressed up and everything. It's a very sort of unique look. The whole sort of manga type style, stroke Disney type style, and
Right.
I was kind of understand where he's coming from there. After all these years of sort of giving him dicks and taking the pill that he's in love with Ariel. Yeah, so I can kind of relate to that now. And all the way, as soon as you said The Little Mermaid, I've got one song in my mind, and one song only, and that's Under the Sea. I think that's just genius.
I
What,
love Under the Sea.
yeah, what a great song.
I know. I have like the entire soundtrack on my iTunes, and I have to say that my favorite song, it's actually my favorite part of the movie, is Part of Your World.
Yes, yeah,
And I love that song, and I got the DVD, like the special edition DVD, and it came with a track where like they filmed Jodie Benson,
yeah,
the actual voice actress singing it, and I just sat there and I just started crying, like
yeah,
watching her sing it. And I'm like, I gotta meet her someday.
yeah. She sounds so lovely. She sounds so
Right.
beautiful. She sounds so sort of, yeah. Yeah, that for me is like Frozen. The soundtrack for Frozen is like that. Um,
Right, yeah, I have like three versions of no, four versions of Let It Go on my
yeah,
iTunes. I've got the Idina Menzel, I've got the Demi Lovato, which a lot of people hate, but I
yeah.
like. And I've got the Chinese version and the Japanese version.
Oh wow,
Yes.
that's random.
Well, I love the Japanese language, and so I downloaded it, and then I'm like, you know what? I want to hear the Chinese Mandarin version, and so I downloaded it, and the singer for that was just gorgeous and really emotional. So
Yeah. Oh no, I've just got the original one and got the old there's sort of rip off ones, isn't there? Like fuck it all
I
and
love that one.
but yeah,
I
and again the words go so well with it. It's like
I know.
fuck
I
it all.
know. Like, I want to go to a con at some point that's kind of like 18 and up.
Yeah.
Go to a con and go to karaoke and start singing Let It Go. Very
Uh,
final chorus, just like bust down and fuck it all.
yeah, the special edition of
Yeah, yeah.
Let It Go.
And just like not tell anyone I'm gonna do it.
Yeah. Oh no, that'd be good. Yeah, you're a bit of a karaoke queen as well, aren't you?
Oh, yes.
Nice. Right. So moving on away from Ariel, number three pick was
The Little Mermaid.
Little Mermaids. Excellent. So then moving on to number four.
My number four pick is Final Fantasy VII Advent Children Complete.
Ooh. Okay. This is a film I've never ever seen, and I've always wanted to see. So this could
Ooh,
be another
it's so
one.
good.
Yeah, I know. So tell us about Advent Children, Final Fantasy.
Okay, well, Advent Children kind of comes back a few years after Final Fantasy VII is over and done with, and it sees the town and the people trying to carry on, trying to live their lives, But there's a sickness going around called geostigma who infects those who have been manipulated by the Mako cells or who have Mako cells in them. And it's kind of like Genova's calling card. And you see these three silver-haired guys that are the remnants, and they're kind of like, you find out they're kind of like a catalyst for Sephiroth. And it's got the entire movie is so awesome. It sees the return of like Eris and Zack in Cloud's mind, and the fact that he's struggling with their deaths, and you get to see all of your favorite characters again. And I love it. I saw Advent Children before Advent Children Complete came out, and then I actually own the special edition box set of Advent Children that comes with the script, the novel, and the special edition prints.
Yeah.
And I actually own that. And then we have Advent Children Complete, I think, on Blu-ray. And such a good movie. I love it. I enjoy it every time I watch it.
Yeah, I I seem to remember when it came out. Obviously, the actual film and the special effects were quite groundbreaking, wasn't it? Where you know, obviously it's very like human beings.
Right.
Proper sort of like sweat on their forehead
Oh
and
yeah,
that
like
kind of thing.
to
It's very sort
me,
of
to me, the animation and the CGI in Advent Children Complete and Advent Children is still better than anything we've seen in video games. People are talking about how Destiny is beautiful and everything like that. That's very true. But
what's
to me,
fantastic.
but to me, so far, nothing, not even like Last of Us Remastered, not Destiny, nothing has touched the kind of beautiful CGI and fluid animation that we have in Advent Children Complete. Because you can still look at something in the game and say, oh, well, their clothes isn't quite right, their hair is phasing through their neck, something like this. You can always find something in these new high-tech video games that are supposed to be cutting edge. But in Advent Children Complete, there's nothing like that. There's such fluidity in everything, and every movement has a purpose.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it is visually. I mean, again, so there's two things that attracted me to it. Obviously, Final Fantasy VII, as everybody knows, is the best Final Fantasy ever, and I will eat my hat if anybody comes forward with a valid argument that it isn't. Obviously, it's kind of based. Is it based after that? Is it?
Yes,
Is
it
it
is
shortly
based
after?
after that. It is, I can't remember how many years. It's like 4, 5, 6 years now that I'm not aware of. But it's
I'm
based.
just looking now, Jamie, because I do my research sometimes. It's 2 years after the events of Final Fantasy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it is after Final Fantasy VII, and it ties in the story so well. And at the beginning of the film, they actually do a little recap of kind of what went on prior.
Yeah.
And God, it's so emotional, and I love it. And the end of that movie still makes me cry. I mean, there's nothing really sad that happens, like no one like dies or anything, but there's just this really emotional part, and like I don't know if like I want to give it away.
No,
Just
no, please. Spoilers are not allowed on the island. We can watch the films
okay,
and
then
enjoy the spoilers together.
then I'll just put it this way: there's something that happens that will just open up an old wound
Oh.
from Final Fantasy VII.
It's nothing to do with Eris, is it?
I can't say it.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. We will talk after the show then. In that case, because if it is, I need to know. I need to know. So your number 4 pick to bring on the island with us is
Final Fantasy VII Advent Children. I love it. I love just everything about it.
fantastic. Did you have a standalone moment in that?
This is where it's kind of embarrassing for me. Um, my favorite. I have kind of two favorite parts. My favorite part in Advent Children alone, like not Advent Children Complete, since they're kind of they each have different footage. My favorite part in Advent Children is when Kadaj is talking to Rufus Shinra. I love that moment. It's such an eye-opening moment, and it's so emotional. I love that moment in itself. My favorite moment in Advent Children Complete is when Reno is laying on the couch talking to Rude because he's so beautiful and he's so awesome. And I love just watching that moment where he's laying there with like two shirt buttons undone. And I'm like, God bless CGI.
Sexy, sexy man.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, so that's Final Fantasy Advent Children, a film that I am going to pick on my list to see. Then moving on, we're almost sort of halfway through the whole show. So moving on to number 5, your pick is
Interview with a Vampire.
Tom Cruise,
Yes.
and of course Brad Pitt, the stunning
Tom
Brad.
Cruise, Brad Pitt, Antonio Banderas was in it, and God, he should not have played Armand, but oh Lord, he acted him so well, but
Yeah.
for the fact that Armand was supposed to be like a 17-year-old Russian Botticelli angel-looking boy, and they chose Antonio Banderas.
Yeah, yeah. So did you have any sort of preconceptions of this when you went before you went to see it? Did you sort of read about it? Did you read the book or?
I actually had not read the books. I got with my boyfriend about 3 years ago, and he's where he got with he is the one who kind of introduced me to a few of the movies that I really like nowadays, including the Resident Evil series.
Yeah.
And we're sitting there one night, and he's like, "Have you ever seen Interview with a Vampire?" And I'm like, "No, I don't watch like that kind of cheesy, stupid like stuff."
Like Sleepless in Seattle type film.
Right, like that's kind of what I envisioned because of all the vampire movies I had seen up
Yeah.
until then. I'm like, I don't, know. And he's like, no, you don't understand. You gotta watch it. And I'm like, okay. And so we sit down and we watch Interview with a Vampire, and I come away from it, and I'm like, I need the books. I need the books now.
Yeah.
And then I started reading the books, and I've read. I kind of started out of order. I started with the Vampire Armand because he's my favorite, and so I read his book first. And then I read Blood and Gold, which is Marius' book. And now I'm reading The Vampire Lestat, which is, of course, another one of Lestat's novels.
Yeah.
And, no, wait, I read Queen of the Damned after Vampire Armand. So I've read 3 so far, and I'm working on my 4th.
Wow, okay. Me and my wife went to see Queen of the Damned in Las Vegas, actually, and I
Oh,
think
wow.
when it was released, what was her name called? Aliyah, is it?
Aaliyah, yeah.
Yeah, she was a singer, wasn't she? And I think just before it was released, she died, or she was killed in some kind of accident, I think.
Yes, I think she was killed in a plane crash.
Yeah, just think, the actual film was quite entertaining. Obviously, we're in a big cinema in Las Vegas, so there's added sort of atmosphere and things. But I think, obviously the whole her passing away kind of added to it. I think we really, really enjoyed it at the cinema. And when we came back, we got it on DVD and watched it, and we didn't enjoy it at all. And I think my wife read the book as well, and she really enjoyed the book, but the film Queen of the Damned, it wasn't all that. So I think we got all wrapped up in the whole. Yeah, we're in Las Vegas. Yeah, we're in a nice cinema. Yeah,
Right.
so on and so forth. But yeah, so
Queen of the Damned did not fit the book at all. It was really embarrassing
yeah,
to see it. The only thing that was good about it was the actor for Marius acted a wonderful Marius. He had the sort of he had the characteristics down. But Aaliyah, even like I'm not just saying this because she passed before the movie was released. She pulled a beautiful Akasha, even though their Akasha was not written the way that the book Akasha was written. I believe she could have pulled a beautiful Akasha either way. She had that. You sensed royalty. You sensed, that sort of I
You're
want this world
back.
for my women.
Yeah,
I want this because that's what she was about. She wanted the world to be ruled by women.
yeah,
And had they put that actually in there and had they written Akasha the way she was supposed to be, I still think that Aaliyah would have played her beautifully.
yeah, yeah. No, you know, there's one or two ways that can go. Obviously, she didn't act the part properly, or the screenwriters didn't write her in the right way, which I think you're right. I think that's the case. So,
Right.
but anyway, that's not your pick. Interview with a Vampire is. It's only sort of standalone moments in Interview with a Vampire that you care to share with us.
I think one of my favorite moments is when they're both in Louis' old like farmhouse, and Louis sets the place on fire, and
Yeah,
Lestat comes to the window. He's like, "Perfect, perfect! Burn the house, burn everything we own. Have
yeah.
us sleeping in the field like cattle." And Louis retorts something, and Lestat just embodies the fandom and says, "Oh, shut up, Louis." I think that was one of my favorite parts. I loved it so much. That and I loved the scene with Armand talking to Louis back kind of in the theater, The Vampire. I loved that. Even though he didn't look the part, Antonio Banderas acted a beautiful Armand, and I loved seeing that on screen
Yeah,
because Armand's my favorite character.
you certainly had some stars there, some great actors.
Right.
Okay, perfect. So that was your pick number 5, I think. Interview with the Vampire. Oh, sorry, I put it in there. But what was your pick, number 5?
Interview with a Vampire.
Oh, there we go. Who would have guessed that? So moving on, we've got number 6.
My number 6 pick is Nightmare on Elm Street 2010.
So the remake.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I would have definitely have said Nightmare on Elm Street, the original. The remake I enjoyed. However, I'm sure you're going to tell me why you've picked Nightmare on Elm Street.
Don't make me get wrong. I love the original. I love Robert Englund's Freddy Krueger. But Jackie Earle Haley's Freddy Krueger took it to what it was supposed to be. Nightmare on Elm Street was originally supposed to be that dark film about the child molester, but they could not actually write that story. They could not actually put that out in movie form because there was such a huge story of a child molester going around at the time. They figured it would be in bad taste. And so they dumbed it down and made the original Nightmare on Elm Street kind of a joke movie. And Freddy Krueger got more and more jokish as the movies went on. So Nightmare on Elm Street 2010, the remake, was a re-envisioning of what it could have been.
Yeah.
So a lot of people got mad because, quote, quote, Jackie Earle Haley was replacing Robert Englund. No, he was a completely different character entirely.
Yeah, completely. There was actually you saying that. I like that because I felt the whole sort of child molesting thing in the remake worked really well, and a little bit of a spoiler alert here. There's obviously a sort of 10-minute spell in the film where it's a case of like he didn't actually do it. There's no proof he didn't actually do it, and the parents just kind of overreacted and burnt the poor guy, and that I think would have added um, extra character to the whole Freddy Krueger character. However, obviously 10 minutes later you find out that he did do it and he's got this little dungeon underneath and things. But I think the remake definitely brought it up to the like 20th century look and the whole cool kids type thing with like all the what was it the Glee? No, it wasn't the Glee. What was most of the cast were from my wife's just shouted 90210 and there was another one, sir. What was that Nightmare on Elm Street, the remake? There was a few.
Not Melrose Place.
Melrose Place, does that ring a bell? No.
I wouldn't know. This was my first encounter with pretty much all the actors in the film.
Okay, okay. They all came from sort of, American teeny bop TV shows,
Right.
or most of them did anyway. So, Gossip Girl. That's the one I'm thinking of. There's a few characters from that. So, not that I know anything about Gossip Girl. You understand? So,
Oh yeah, totally.
of course, me Gossip Girl never. So, and any sort of standout moments from Nightmare on Elm Street 2012 or 2010?
2010.
2010, yeah, yeah.
My favorite moment is actually one that was deleted from the movie,
Oh, okay.
and it's in the deleted scenes. It's I think they should have left it in because it gives Freddy such character. Freddy is like one of my favorite. It's like my favorite slasher.
Yeah, he's awesome. He is good.
Yeah. I actually have a T-shirt, and it has Freddy Krueger on the front of it, and it says "Hottie," and then on the back it says Mrs. Krueger, and I love it. But my favorite moment is there's a scene in the movie where Nancy is in the little white dress again, and she's kind of like tied down to the bed, like she can't move.
Yeah, yeah,
And Freddy walks in. That was in the movie. The scene that they took out was he's standing over her, and it's an extended version where he's talking over the bed, and he says things like, "Look at me. Look at what you did to me. Look at how," basically saying, "Look at how I look now because of you.
yeah,
Look at what I have to deal with now because of you." And it gives it such character. Like, it gives him, you see that he's actually self-conscious about the way he looks.
yeah, yeah,
He is aware of how he looks. And that broke my heart when I watched the deleted scenes, to see him say, "Look at me, look at what you did to me."
yeah.
And I have to say that was my favorite part, and I can't understand why they cut it out unless they cut it out because it made you feel sympathy. You know?
Yeah, possibly. I mean, obviously cut things out of many films for time scaling, things like that. But
Right.
that's actually sounds really good because it kind of gives it an edge where
Right.
it's in his head as well as others, where he obviously had feelings where
Right.
you personally have done this to me. Look, it's very psychological and in regards to character building, but it gives Freddy Krueger a sort of extra dimension where
Right.
he's not just a slasher, he's not just a killer, he's actually like really quite disturbed,
Right.
sort of unhinged, and there's a story toward behind that unhinging.
Right.
But
And that's why I really liked it. I'd recommend for anyone who loved or like even just liked Nightmare on Elm Street 10, go online or get the DVD that has the deleted scenes and the extra opening and the extra ending. I
yeah,
would recommend watching all of them simply because the deleted scenes give it that extra. Oh, I mean, it's kind of like getting I Am Legend and watching the extra ending and determining that the extra ending would have been better than the normal ending. So,
yeah. There's another film like that, Paranormal Activity. If you ever seen the
Oh God, yes.
deleted films, there's one that they really should have rolled with, where it's her just sat for a couple of days by the side
Oh
of the
Lord,
bed,
yes.
and then the police come in and they're like, look, lady, don't move. And she stands up and she walks towards them, and they sort of blow her head off, which obviously is not, look into the films that have come since. Obviously, that wouldn't really work, but
Right.
I just felt from a standalone film point that would have worked really well.
Yeah. Funny thing was that was actually the ending I saw first.
Oh,
I
really?
don't know. I don't know why. But the DVD version that I saw over at my friend's house, which we started off on like two different couches and one different chair, and we ended up all on the same couch. But the version that I actually saw had that ending as the real ending, and so the next time I saw it with my boyfriend, the ending was different, and I'm like, whoa, what the hell?
Yeah, yeah. Was the second time where she comes towards the camera? Is that?
Oh God, yes, that scared the hell out of me.
Yeah. Do you know what it was with me and my wife? We went to the cinema to watch it. We went to the cinema to watch all of them
Oh my God.
apart from the recent ones. So obviously, you know, when you're sat at the back of the cinema and it's all dark and there's
Well,
people
I've never
around,
done that.
kind of nervy. And I think you know we just sat there and every night you know when it comes up sort of night two, it's like, well, it can't get any that. And then you suddenly get on to night five, and it's like, right, night four is quite traumatic. So what's going to happen now? And
Right.
then it comes up night 58 or whatever, and I was like, oh shit, you know, we're sort of
Yeah, it was so
hugging each
funny
other.
because it was really funny because as soon as it started being like, night one, we didn't have that, oh, nothing was going to happen because all of us, we were between the ages, like everyone watching it was between the ages of like 13
Oh
and
dear, oh
like
dear, yeah.
20. I think we had a 20-year-old, like all the way down to like 13. We had like 8 people, and then we had the grandparents sitting there watching it with us because they were like big kids. And as soon as night one came on, we all like pushed ourselves back into our chairs and became one with them, like
Yeah,
uh
yeah.
uh,
Look
and then
after
nothing
me.
happened. And then like nothing happened, and we're like, wait, what? And so it was really at night 3 or 4 that we started getting that false sense of security.
Yeah, yeah. All I remember is obviously as the night went on, it was okay. Every night it comes up in you know white letters, night 12, and all you can hear from
Oh God, I
from
know.
the 13-year-olds is like, oh God, it's like, oh God, no, night 13 is like,
Even though it's
all you
not,
hear is sort of
even though it's
mumbling.
like not one of, even though it's not one of my picks, one of the best movies, like the best moments that I've ever had watching a movie was actually Paranormal Activity 2. And I had thrown a Halloween party.
Yeah,
And my mom was like, well, cool enough to be like, hey, me and the neighbor are gonna go out to eat. You guys sit here, watch your scary movies, and we're gonna give you some time. And so it was awesome.
yeah,
Because it was just like a bunch of like 16, 17, 18-year-olds. Obviously, no people that I know would be like, we're gonna, party and get drunk. I mean, the worst we ever do is like, let's put on cosplay wigs and eat cake.
yeah.
And so we're sitting there, and it's me and my boyfriend, my best friend and her girlfriend, and my friend, and then my other guy friend, who is like my brother. Like, all of these people are like my sisters and my brothers. Like, we're that close. And we're sitting there watching Paranormal Activity 2, and my uncle is outside manning the bonfire that we're going to use to have like roasted marshmallows and tell ghost stories and stuff.
Yeah.
And so we're watching Paranormal Activity 2, and it gets to the scene where I forget what night it is, but it's in the kitchen, and the dog is like barking at the closet.
Yeah, yeah.
And okay, just to kind of like set the scene a little bit, my mom and we used to live in a trailer, and like the tin sides, and we had this big mirror on the wall. And we lived out in the middle of like bumfuck nowhere. Like, we lived out in God's country because no one else would have it.
Right.
And our neighbor was an acre away. Okay, that's how alone you were. And so we're sitting there, we're watching, and the dog gets drug into the closet. As soon as the dog gets drug into the closet, my uncle bangs on the side of the wall in perfect timing.
What is he doing? What is he
And
doing?
my boyfriend lets out the best scream I've ever heard in my life, to the point where I pause the movie, look over him, and go, was that you? And of course he covers it up by going, no, And I'm like, yeah, right, I was sitting right next to you. And it was perfectly timed, and the best part was I didn't know my uncle did it until like a month later.
Wonderful.
It was fantastic.
Excellent. Family members, who'd have them, eh?
Right?
So, right, that we were talking about Paranormal Activity, weren't we? But what was your pick number 7?
It was Nightmare on Elm Street.
Nightmare on Elm Street was pick number 6, wasn't it? Oh.
My pick number, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, number 6 was Nightmare on Elm Street 2010. My pick number 7, is Red Eye.
Oh, right. I know sort of 30% of the reason why this film's obviously coming with you.
Cillian Murphy and Drake Adams.
Yeah, it could be Killian. It could be Killian.
Could be.
So, So this is the film set on the plane, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about Red Eye.
Okay, so Red Eye is a film, and this girl, Rachel McAdams' character, her name is Lise, or Elise, but she's called Lise, and so she goes. She's got to get on a red eye to go and see her dad, and she meets this charismatic guy named Jack, and they kind of start talking, and they go and they have a drink together at the bar, just because they just kind of had a conversation and they needed to wait for the flight. And they end up finding out that they're sitting next to each other on the flight, and they're like, "Oh, cool, it's you." And they start playing it off, but as the flight goes on, he starts talking to Lise, and he starts mentioning her dad, and he starts mentioning all this information about where she works, and he ends up telling her basically that he's there's a guy that's staying in the hotel that she works at, and he needs her to move him to a room where his men can kill him because he's a politician. And he said, if you don't do this, I've got a man waiting outside your dad's house, and he's gonna kill him. And so she has nowhere to go. She can't run. She can't call for help because she's trapped on this plane.
Yeah.
And it's such a good movie. I love the feel of the movie. I love the characters. It gives you such this awesome feel of just kind of hopelessness because she is trapped on this plane.
Yeah.
And it's like an 9 hour flight, and so she can't do anything. And it has a great ending, great beginning, great middle. There's not really like a boring part to this movie, and I love it.
Excellent. So is it kind of a speed type movie where it's just obviously it's not action, but it's very sort of 10 minutes in, the whole storyline, and it's kind of her trying to avoid the inevitable as such.
It's a kind of like that. It takes a little longer to actually kind of get out there, but until then, it leaves you to make all of these assumptions. Like, okay, well, it's obviously this kind of thing. Oh no, well, it's kind of this kind of thing, and it's very suspenseful.
Yeah.
And while there's not really scares, it gives you that scary feeling because you're like, oh my god, this is legitimately something that could happen. You don't know who you're sitting to on a plane.
No.
Who you're sitting next to on a plane.
Yeah.
And if you watch the interviews in the second disc, kind of like special features, Cillian Murphy actually read the screenplay on a plane, and so he said he was reading it to go talk to the director, who was actually the director of Nightmare on Elm Street.
Okay.
And so the original Wes Craven, that's who directed Red Eye.
Yeah.
And so he was on his way to meet him, and he read the screenplay on a plane. And he's like, and I knew I had to say yes. I knew I had to do it because of this feeling that it gave me. And it was really scary. He's like, I'm sitting next to this stranger, and I'm reading this screenplay, and I don't know who they are.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. And they say hello to me. Okay. Who are you?
Hi.
Excellent. I'm just looking on IMBD, which is something I need to be using a lot more. There's quite a few mistakes and movie mistakes genius, but there's one that's caught my eye. Is Lisa the main character?
Yes.
Right. Who's Cynthia?
Cynthia. Cynthia is the girl she kind of like runs the hotel while Lisa's gone.
Okay, there's I'm quite a geek when it comes to things like this. I'm reading that, so I'll read out. It's when Lisa gives Cynthia a code to enter into the hotel computer. She says 7884. When the computer screen is displayed next to the code that Cynthia has entered, it's shown as 4887. So they've got that completely wrong. She doesn't get any detail at all, and that's the end of the film, I'm presuming. So, little things like that in films. I love the website. Is it moviemistakes.com?
Oh God, yes.
I could spend ever on there.
I know, me
Ever and
too.
ever
It's
and ever.
it's I'm
Yeah.
the kind of person to stand there and watch for bloopers, and I'm the kind of person to watch for bloopers and mistakes like that, and I'm the kind of person to watch gameplay to find glitches, and like, I'm sorry to inform you, sir, but your hair is kind of phasing through the back of your neck. Are you okay?
Yeah. The best one. I'm not, obviously not being from Britain or sort of in surrounding areas. I'm pretty sure this is one that's maybe passed you by, but there's a game FIFA. It's a football game, obviously big
Oh
over
yeah,
here. But the mistakes in there are unbelievable.
I love the FIFA glitches.
Oh, excellent. So you know them. So you know about sort of like
Oh
the bumming players and sort of the headless goalkeepers and the floating
yeah,
balls and
oh
excellent,
yeah.
excellent. Yeah, yeah. A big into bloopers. That's my next show actually. I'll think about a bloopers show.
Ooh, that'll be fun.
Yeah, it would be fun. So just that we go, favorite parts in Red Eye.
Okay, favorite parts of it. I love it when there's a part when Elise goes to the bathroom to collect herself and she gets sick. Like she's so stressed. I love how they put that. She's so stressed and scared that she actually gets sick, and she goes to the sink to kind of clean herself up, and she looks over and she gets the soap, and then she looks in the mirror, and you see Cillian Murphy kind of get suspicious about why she's been gone so long. And so he goes to this little bathroom and he opens up this door and he goes, I'm sorry, Stacey, can you hurry this up? And he looks in the mirror and she has written down B-47 or whatever, like their seat name,
Yeah.
have a bomb. And he grabs
Okay.
her throat, pushes her into the bathroom, shuts the door, and just kind of gives her the lowdown on like, you don't understand what I'm capable of, and
Yeah.
just kind of holds her by her throat in this bathroom. And it's this really small enclosed, super small space that he's got her in.
Yeah.
And it was so emotional and just it was scary.
Yeah.
And the actors portrayed it beautifully. So
Yeah.
that was my favorite part.
Okay, excellent. So you haven't seen the uncut version where Cillian Murphy gets naked right at the end then?
No, but I
No.
have seen him naked in 28 Days Later.
Yes, you have. Yeah, there was a
Uh,
brief flash.
yes, there was.
But we've spoken about it, so it's not too impressive. But moving on. So your number seven pick was
Red Eye.
Red Eye. So moving on to your last normal pick, should we say, which is number eight, which would be.
This is one of my all-time favorite movies. I have seen this movie over 60 times. The Dark Knight.
Oh, I love you, Jamie. That would definitely be in my list as well. Okay, so as if I didn't already know, why have you picked The Dark Knight?
I picked The Dark Knight when it came out. I'm a big Joker fan. I mean, I cosplay Harley Quinn. I own like a whole bunch of Joker, like of the graphic novels. I have 17 Joker posters that I have yet to wallpaper this apartment with.
Right.
I love the Joker.
So
I love his
does your
character.
boyfriend know that? Yeah.
Oh yes, he's like, I'll cosplay the Joker for you, and I'm like, you have to go through my training first. I have to teach you how to be the Joker. And I love his character because he's willing to do what a lot of villains won't. He has no guidelines.
Yeah.
And to hear that, when I heard that Heath Ledger, may he rest in peace, was going to be the Joker, I was a little skeptical. I didn't know who he was. I had never seen him before.
Yeah.
But I remember being in I was in the movie theater watching it, and I think I was watching National Treasure 2, I think. Which I
Nicholas.
love that movie. I
Yeah.
love that movie too.
It's quite good. Yeah.
And it was some movie like that me and my cousin Faith were watching, and we were in the movie theater, and the movie starts like the trailer starts playing, and I'm like, what is this? What is this? Because I hadn't seen Batman Begins.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen the new Nolan films yet.
Oh wow. Okay.
yeah, and it was so like when this came out, I didn't even know the Nolan films really existed, and I'm like, what's going on? And they show the Joker and how they re-envisioned him, and I'm like, oh my god, I need this.
Yeah,
So around the 4th of July, I think it was actually on the 4th of July, we go and we see The Dark Knight, and I come out of the theater like shaking with excitement, and I call my mom and I'm like, you don't understand. He was the Joker.
yeah,
He embodied him so beautifully, and to think that he's gone.
yeah,
I cried in the theater the last scene that Heath Ledger was in, and I still cry. That scene when he says, I think you and I are destined to do this forever.
yeah,
I cry. I just break down in tears. And he was a beautiful Joker, and to have people say that he committed suicide, I don't believe that at all. I believe it was an accidental overdose, but his character portrayal was gorgeous. I
yeah.
loved the movie itself. I loved the Harvey Dent portrayal. Aaron Eckhart, he did a great job. Um, Christian Bale doesn't do too bad as Batman if the director wouldn't have told him to use that throat cancer sounding voice.
Batman.
The
Yeah, no, that
only thing that
that's not a good part.
Oh yeah, the only thing that I think could have made the movie better was if they would have put Harley in at some point. That would have made me so happy, or at least hinted to Harley Quinn. Like, come on, that's his baby. That's he's her pudding. Come on.
Yeah. Here's a question for you now. I read something, and this is a TV show that I haven't been watching up until 2 weeks ago when it became on Sky, and that's Arrow. Have you ever seen Arrow? Do you ever watch Arrow?
I saw the last like 5 minutes of it one time before we're big into Supernatural, or we were until the new
Yeah,
season came out and it was
yeah,
complete and utter shit.
yeah.
Um, So we watched the last 5 minutes of that before Supernatural came on,
Because
and it looked
oh,
pretty interesting. But I heard that they got a Harley Quinn.
yeah, do you know what? And the reason I was going to ask that is because I'm just wondering where it fits, where it sort of you because is Arrow DC? Is that
I
what
think
Arrow is?
I
Obviously,
think Green Arrow is DC. I'm not much into DC because of how they've ruined their characters lately
yeah.
and the extreme and utter gross sexism with their characters in the New 52.
Okay.
Uh, I do not support them. They have turned Harley Quinn into nothing more than she will literally just like screw anything that moves. She isn't blonde. She's dyed her hair like purple and red, and her outfit looks like a stripper. And I'm like, where's my Harley Quinn class? Like,
It's ticking my boxes at the moment, James.
and it's just like it's where Mr. J wouldn't go for anyone who looked like a stripper.
Yeah,
He was a classy villain.
yeah,
And to see them take her away, I mean, I can understand taking her away from her cat suit and the cowl. I can understand that, redesigning something a bit more now. I can
yeah.
understand that. But the
But
fact that they put
turn
her
her
in
into a whore. Yeah,
right,
it's
the
not
fact
good.
that they put her in like panties, garters, a corset that's not laced up all the way so you can see her, like most of her boobs,
Yeah,
and leather gloves. It's like okay, but where's Harley?
yeah. That's not. They might as well have invented a new character then. In that case, it sounds like
Right.
it's yeah, yeah. I don't know. No, I obviously joke, but that's not good. That's not good. I wouldn't like that if they'd done that to one of my favorite characters. So,
Right.
uh, but we obviously we're seeing maybe she'd be in the next Batman films. Maybe she'll have a cameo in Superman versus Batman. Who knows? Who knows? But okay, so that was pick number eight. It's littered with favourite moments. But what's your favourite moment in the film?
I think my favorite moment in the film is I God, there's so many.
Yeah,
Well, of course, I love the magic trick where he walks up and he's like, "I'm gonna make the pencil disappear."
yeah, it's brilliant, isn't it? And it's all done around him smiling, laughing, and then boom. Hold on a second, this
I
guy.
know that was so brutal. I wasn't expecting that.
No.
But I love. I think my favorite scene would have to be um the scene where he's in the big truck that says slaughter on it,
Yeah, yeah,
and the guy gets shot. Like the driver gets shot, and he gets up and he pushes the guy out of the way and says, "Excuse me, I want to drive," and just
yeah.
pushes the guy out of the truck.
The guy's dead, mate.
Yeah,
It's
and
like,
he's like, "Excuse me, I want to drive."
yeah,
And of course, then there's the iconic scene where he's walking down the street and Batman's charging him. He's
yeah,
like, "Oh, you want to play? You want to play? Come on, come on,
yeah,
hit me!" And I loved that scene. I loved it so much. That was so beautiful.
yeah. Yeah, I think and then I've got the nurse part as well, where he's come out of the hospital and he's all like crazy looking and he just
Did you
busts
know
that
that
nut.
part was actually the hospital actually they actually had sort of a malfunction. The hospital was actually supposed to blow up when he was walking away, and him hitting the button and then like getting startled when it blew up was actually just something that Heath Ledger went with.
Oh wow, okay.
Yes, that was an actual malfunction, and so him just kind of fiddling with the switch was just him going with it, and then when it blew up, he actually was startled, and so he just kind of kept going with
Oh, I like that. Yeah, no, that's the kind of info we like on this show.
it.
That's good. So, brilliant. I mean, we talk about Dark Knight all night because it is, yeah, it is fantastic. I liked all three. I think Dark Knight Rises is probably the weakest of the three.
Oh
Uh,
god, it was.
but again, I can watch that over and over again. I think they kind of made Bane to be what he should be. It just
Right.
wasn't.
I
It
liked
didn't cost.
I liked I
Cost.
liked Bane
Yeah.
in the movie. I loved how they added Dr. Crane. Literally, I was sitting through that entire movie waiting for my Scarecrow cameo because Scarecrow is my second favorite Batman villain.
And,
And
and why is that, Jamie?
I've always been fascinated with phobias,
Yeah, yeah,
and to have a villain who works off of it is
yeah,
brilliant. I
yeah,
wish they'd give him more of common sense in the comics because he gets gassed by his own toxin every single fucking comic.
yeah,
But in the movies, I think Cillian Murphy portrayed him beautifully, and I'd like to see Scarecrow rise again. I'd like to see a movie that it was mostly Scarecrow and not just him working for Ra's al Ghul, you know?
yeah.
But I was waiting for that cameo throughout the entire movie, and we're in the movie theater watching Dark Knight Rises, and I see his shoulder, and I lean over to my boyfriend, and I'm like, that's him.
That's it.
How? He's like, how can you tell? Wait, how can you tell from his shoulder? And I'm like, I just do.
Yeah,
And
I
it shows
know.
him, and I'm like, yep, that's him. And I'm literally sink into my seat and start fangirling because Scarecrow.
I've
Um,
studied him for years. Why do you ask that?
I love it. And then
I,
I,
yeah,
I hated the Catwoman in the movie, though. I think Anne Hathaway could have pulled a beautiful Catwoman. My
yeah.
problem with Catwoman was the fact that she was literally Irene Adler from the Sherlock Holmes movie that was my number one pick.
Oh yeah, yeah,
They literally took away lines from that movie from Irene Adler and put them into Catwoman's mouth. And I'm like, when is anyone ever going to understand that number one, Selena Kyle is blonde? Number two, she does what she does for charity work
yeah,
to save the mountain lions and things like that. And number three, she is not just a bedwarmer for Batman.
yeah. And that does come across, doesn't it? That does
Yeah.
come across that she really is kind of like, hello, Batman. Again. But let's face it. Before we move on, she's better than Halle Berry.
Okay, now Halle Berry, the movie with Halle Berry was entertaining in its own right, and that outfit was sexy.
Yeah,
But the movie was kind of terrible.
yeah. Right,
Yeah.
on that note, so your number 8 pick, your final pick was
The Dark Knight.
The Dark Knight. Big pick from me there.
Mhm.
Right, so you know the format. Now we move on to the two films that you really should have seen by now and you haven't. And hopefully, at some point in the next week or so, you will get to see these films because obviously, when you talk about the films, it does sort of jog your memories and makes you think about why you should see these films.
Right.
So, your number one pick for the film that you haven't seen yet is.
You are going to like kick me off the show because I
I
haven't
possibly
seen
am.
Ghostbusters. I have not seen Ghostbusters.
Right, hold on a second, hold on a second. Right, can you see that? That, that Jamie is a disaster. You know what I was saying about the Sunday stroll earlier with
Yeah.
yeah, Dan Central hasn't seen Ghostbusters either, and that is just a crime, an absolute crime. Humanity, let alone film going. Um, okay, so tell me, try and justify yourself, Jamie. Why have you not seen one of the best films ever, ever?
Um, okay, well, my justifying moment is the fact that I've never been able to catch it on TV. Um, it's always been like an hour in, and so I haven't watched it. We always forget about it. We have this like movie, like used movie book and game store called McKay's, and we always forget about it when we go. Like we're always looking for some sort of game or some sort of like TV show and we always forget about Ghostbusters. And then when we come back home, like if I watch Zombieland or something, I'm like, man, I need to watch Ghostbusters,
Yeah.
and it just
Do
never
you
happens.
do you know anything about Ghostbusters? Obviously, you know sort of what it's in regards, but you know sort of any of the characters, any of the sort of plot lines, or
I don't know a lot of the plot lines. I know about the of course the actors that are in it,
yeah,
and I love the actors. Like I've seen the actors in a whole bunch of other stuff, and I would love to see it because I love the actors.
yeah.
I know that they're fighting ghosts with like vacuum cleaners.
Yeah, they're called proton packs, but but
Oh yeah,
but,
the proton packs. Yeah.
but I'll give you a vacuum cleaner. Yeah,
Well, it looks like a vacuum cleaner. I mean, if it helps, I've seen some really cool cosplays. They actually had the proton packs with like
yeah.
they lit up and everything, and one guy had put speakers in his proton pack, and so it actually had the theme song playing
Oh,
out of it, like wherever they went,
oh wow,
and so that was
that's
pretty
pretty
cool.
nifty. I go to a science fiction convention once a year down in Wales, and there's a group of people called the Galactic Knights, and they're pretty much based around stormtroopers, clone troopers,
Oh
not
wow, yeah.
the whole Star Wars things, but they kind of branched out and they're doing Cylons, Buck Rogers stuff. And anything that you can kind of dress up. They also do aliens as well, which is quite good. So obviously that can go disastrously wrong, but they're quite cool costume. But they've got they've got kind of original looking proton packs, which again makes a noise and everything, and that is just too cool not to pay an interest in. It's
Right.
they're just amazing. I think I've got loads of pictures of just the proton pack, and obviously my friend Stuart again on with it on his back, so playing around. But oh dear, Jamie. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
I
So it says that you
know.
haven't seen Ghostbusters.
I know.
Okay, well, look, it is a good job that I've got it in my bag and we can watch it together on the island. So all is not lost. All is not
Okay.
lost. So you're not. I'm not giving up on you just yet, Jamie. So, however, moving on from Ghostbusters, which Jamie hasn't seen. Jamie hasn't seen Ghostbusters. Please go and check her channel out. But why? Because you haven't seen Ghostbusters, so let's just move on to pick number two that you haven't seen and you really should have seen by now.
This is another one that's going to get me in trouble. I haven't seen Back to the Future. I have not seen Back to the Future.
Just for the record, I'm going on cam. My hands are on my head. And I'm shaking my head vigorously. So let me just recap. Okay, so Jamie's favourite films are number 1, Sherlock Holmes, great film. Number 2, Resident Evil Afterlife,
Which I explained.
which you have explained. The Little Mermaid, which yeah, great. Final Fantasy Advent Children, Interview with a Vampire, Nightmare on Elm Street, Red Eye, The Dark Knight. All great films. All great films. However, she hasn't seen Ghostbusters and she hasn't seen Back to the Future. Which I bet you any Spondoonies at all, right, will be in most people's top 8.
Oh yeah.
So, Disaster Strikes, and me and Jamie have a big falling out, and we no longer talk. Just for the record. So is there any reasons why you haven't seen Back to the Future? Is it just again the same kind of reasons as Ghostbusters that it just hasn't been the right time, or?
Back to the Future has a few reasons. Number one, yeah, I hadn't been able to catch it on. Like, I caught like Back to the Future 2 and Back to the Future 3, but I haven't caught Back to the Future 1. And another thing is, like, it's kind of been shoved down my throat that Back to the Future is a really good movie.
Yeah.
And I'm one of those people that if I hear it more than like 5 times within a certain span of time, I'm like, I'm not gonna watch it.
Yeah.
And of course, every time I get around people and we talk about movies, I'm like, oh my god, Back to the Future, and I'm like, I don't care anymore.
Yeah, because you've had it drummed into you so many times that it's.
I do want to watch it.
You do this.
Like, I do want to watch it. I hear they're both great movies. They're both classics. I love the actors in both movies. You know, like I've seen movies with pretty much all the actors from Ghostbusters and Back to the Future. I just haven't seen those specific movies.
Yeah.
And I know that they're great, and I know that I'm going to watch them at some point, but it's just the fact that within the last 3 years or so, I've just had it beaten into me that Ghostbusters and Back to the Future are such great movies, and I'm like, I'm sure they are, but I would like to watch them on my own time, and not because someone beat it into me, you know? That's going to make the movie less enjoyable.
Yeah, no, I agree. But however, the only reason people are banging it into you is because, let's face it, you should have saw that on day 1, Jamie.
I know.
Yeah. I know. So that's why people are drumming it into you. But no, there's so many films that I should have. This is what all this is about. You know, the 2 films that have just kind of passed you by. You know, to be fair. I haven't seen films like The Godfather. I haven't seen The Godfather.
I haven't seen The Godfather either.
No, Shawshank Redemption, of course.
I haven't seen that one.
What else have I seen? Yeah, possibly nothing as major as Ghostbusters or Back to the Future. However,
everyone hears that. Like everyone who watches this, who subscribes to me, just like unsubscribes. Like, oh nope.
Jamie, everybody watching this is doing this.
Just like complete and utter face palming, like just no.
Yeah, and I can't blame them. And for that reason, next week I've got your mum on the show. We're going to talk about Sleepless in Seattle.
Sleepless in Seattle. You're going to get, if you were to do that, you're going to get a whole bunch of Lifetime and Hallmark Christmas movies.
Yeah.
Sleepless in Seattle, and You've Got Mail.
However, I bet she's seen Back to the Future or Ghostbusters.
She's seen Ghostbusters. I'm not sure about Back to the Future.
Okay, we need to get you both watching Back to the Future. No, I've just driven you away, haven't I? I've just pushed you away from Back to the Future. Just engulf yourself. A question for you. Have you seen Back to the Future 2 and 3 then?
I think I saw, like, one time I caught, like, maybe 10 minutes in the middle of Back to the Future 2, but I don't remember what I saw. I know I've seen the opening scene to Back to the Future. I've seen it on TV or, like a commercial or something or whatever. I've seen, like, the opening scene where he's like, oh, I'm late to school, and, like, does the whole skateboard thing. Like, I've seen that because it wasn't the movie, because I can never catch the movie. Like, I caught that online. Like, it was one of the most I think I caught that in like the top 50 cheesiest movie moments or whatever, and so I saw that scene, but I haven't seen anything else. And of course, I know that like the DeLorean and the crazy scientist. That's like, oh my God,
Yeah.
Marty.
Marley. So you know the character's name. That's
Yes.
something. I'll give you that. But it's not like
Yeah,
back.
I know the characters, just
What's
never
this
seen the
film?
movie.
Excellent. All right, Jamie. So that's your two picks. That's Back to the Future and Ghostbusters that you haven't seen. You do want to see, don't you?
I do actually, yes.
Okay. Brilliant. So that's it. Have you got some honourable mentions that maybe have made your list or?
I so far have three honorable mentions.
Okay, fire away.
I have Howl's Moving Castle, the Studio Ghibli movie. I love that movie so much.
That is brilliant. Yeah, that is my favourite. I was speaking the other day about with another guest, Spirited Away.
That
That's
was one that I didn't like actually, but it is a
really.
good movie. To me, I felt like the story was a little lacking, but my favorites are like Howl's Moving Castle and Castle in the Sky. I love Castle in the Sky. That one's my favorite. Another one of my favorites.
I've not seen that.
It's really good. I love it. Make sure to try and get the uncut version because for some reason on the DVD and when they played on TV, they cut out 30 minutes of the movie, and I don't know why.
No,
So try to look for an uncut version.
yeah, yeah. I tried to.
Um,
Actually, there's a story with Spirited Away as well. I think they change some of the dialects where it's obviously I can't really say it without giving spoilers, but what happens to the parents doesn't happen.
right,
It's kind of it's not cut out, but
right,
they don't get turned into pigs.
right. Yeah,
So yeah, and that for me is a big part of the story. It's a massive part of the story, but they change. They don't change the visuals, but they change something to do with dialect where it doesn't sort of put us so alone, if that makes
right,
sense.
right. Yeah.
Don't know if that makes sense, but um, yes. So other films.
My second pick for honorable mentions would be The Dirty Dozen.
Is that the old western film?
The old like war movie.
Oh yeah, yeah. Of course, yeah.
Yep. Yep.
I've never seen it.
It's really really good. It's kind of tedious at some parts, so you gotta kind of hang with it. But it's got a great story, and I love the characters. Which it's really funny when I mention The Dirty Dozen. A lot of people are like, "You like that movie?" And
Yeah.
I'm like, "Yes, I'm a 20-year-old female, and I like movies. I also like Inglorious Bastards, so that might shock you."
Oh, no. That is a good film. A very good film. I'm kind of into history,
Oh,
and
me too.
war and shit like that. So yeah,
Me too.
that was a must for me when that came out.
Oh,
So
right, right.
yeah, I enjoyed that. I did enjoy that. Any others? Any others that
One last one would be American Slasher. I'm doing a little promo for that movie here.
shameless? But carry on. Tell us
Well,
about your film.
this movie was made by my friends, an independent, kind of like B horror movie, and they're selling copies of it up on eBay. They still have 6 or 7 copies left.
There will be a link
It
below.
has a really good story to it, and they had a lot of fun making it. It shows, and support your indie horror movie makers because they didn't get paid for this. They made this out of their own pocket. So support your local, or well, I guess they're local to me because I'm in the U.S. But support your indie movie artists and go check out American Slasher because even though my friends made it, I wouldn't promote it as much if I didn't like it myself.
Good, and of course it stars Jamie. Kind of.
No, I'm in the first 5 minutes. I'm not a star.
Yes, you are. You're the star of the show.
Uh,
Jamie stars as the Drew Barrymore character.
I do. I die in the first 5 minutes. I do.
But for those 5 minutes, you steal the screen.
Oh yeah, totally. Me
Absolutely.
running and screaming for my life.
And on that note, on Jamie screaming for her life, we will end end the show. I'd just like to thank Jamie. It's been wonderful. Thank you very much for coming on.
Oh, thank you. I always enjoy doing things like this.
Good, good. I'm sorry I turned into a bit of a blubbering idiot and don't have the facts. I need to do my facts first. So I'll possibly be getting lists from people before. So
Well, to me, I think it makes a new dynamic. Like, it's you learning about the movies that you don't know about, you know?
Yeah. No, I'm learning from you guys, and hopefully you're learning nothing from me. And again, you know, the show is all about the guests I have on, and not about me. So, and that's kind of what I wanted it to be as well. So, Jamie, thank you very much for being on, and it's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you. And we will see you in a week.
Awesome.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
Bye.